Hey guys, want to give a heads up before we start this episode. This is our new weekly breakdown / review of the Halo TV series. So we will be spoiling heavily. So if you have not started Halo, I would recommend turning this off immediately. We're doing episode 1 right now, but this will be at the beginning of every episode. So obviously, as episodes go on, just pay attention which episode it is. And if you haven't watched that, then I would recommend turning this off because we'll be breaking down each episode and reviewing it and also speaking about the Halo games. So if you are wanting to play the Halo stories or the Halo campaign and care about the stories, I'd recommend not watching or listening to these either. So without further ado, we'll get into the episode here. Welcome to the Current Backloggers. I'm your host, KCP, along with my good friend and co-host, Aaron C. We're here for another episode review of Halo, the TV series. This time, episode 5, Reckoning.
Oh yeah, Reckoning. It's an interesting episode.
Before we get into that episode, is there anything you want to talk about from weeks before?
I wanted to mention Rocky last week. He was in the Halo after show. And might be the best part of Halo that we don't actually get to see on screen. So I just wanted to mention him. If you have any things to say about him.
Oh, he is a charm. I'd recommend anybody watch the after show for Halo. I feel like you do get some cool insights. It definitely has its cringy moments, but I think it adds to it. I think it makes it more enjoyable and gives it a little more reason to watch. And then Sydney Goodman, the host, is another good reason to watch.
Yeah.
So...
But that was all. It was just funny. We were all like,
oh no, he's hilarious.
Gathered around and watching the after show, and they're just talking about what Master Chief means to them, and then Rocky pops up, and it was the greatest thing ever. So if you didn't watch the after show for episode 4, I highly recommend it. It was fantastic.
Okay. Anything else before we get in the episode?
No, that was it.
Okay. So I have this episode starting at Aridness, and it's in the past. We get to see what the Reach for Life program looks like.
Yeah, it was Aridness. Was Dr. Halsey was there?
Yeah.
With Keys.
Yeah, it's kind of like a big moment because they don't show him at first, and the camera pans out, and you see he's there with her.
Yeah, and this was interesting because I'm actually reading a Halo book right now.
Oh, yeah.
Fall of Reach.
Okay.
And this was like in the book, Halsey and Keys going to Aridness too.
Yeah,
to visit the school or whatever with the kids. I thought that was interesting. It was cool.
Yeah, I read a few of the Halo books that I talked about in here. Not all of them because there's so many. I want to get to them eventually. There's just so many and they keep coming out, so it's hard to keep up with it. But I remember bits and pieces of it. It's been a bit now, so I didn't remember that in particular.
Yeah,
but
I just read the chapter before seeing the episode, and I was like, wait, holy crap! Like I just read that, cool. So that was really cool. And then during the scene, they're like on like a little bridge.
Yeah.
In the air. It's like trees, they're in the air.
Yeah, like you see it at a jungle gym or something, or a fun house.
Yeah, and this kid like falls and is like hanging. And I thought this was really funny because all the kids just start cheering John as he's pulling this kid up.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cringe, I'm not going to lie. It was kind of cringe, but I was like, okay, got it.
Yeah, that's all I had. I had, well, you already said it, Dr. Halsey and Captain Keys, a couple name, were there, and then I had to go into present day Aridness if you had anything else.
Yep, then back to Aridness.
All right, so then we see Captain and Miranda Keys taking a warthog to meet Halsey and the Chief. Feel free to interject whenever you want. I feel like, I don't know if I'm not remembering the prior episodes correctly, but I feel like he real casually dropped that he said, we're going to see your mother. I felt like we talked about in these episodes, we didn't know if Miranda knew that was her mom. I don't know if I'm mixing that up or not, but I feel like they haven't
talked about it very much.
Yeah, I don't feel like they let the audience know that Miranda knows that's her mom, so I felt like it was kind of supposed to be secret.
Yeah, I don't think they've said that that's her mom in the show, unless we completely missed it at one point. But I was also like, oh, so she knows.
Yeah, and it wasn't like, oh shit, that's my mom. He's just like, we're going to see your mom. And she just said something like, oh great, or
Like,
something.
wonderful, yeah.
I was like, wait, did she know that was her mom? Because as far as I knew, watching this, I didn't feel like she had any idea. I thought that was supposed to be like I thought that was gonna be like a turning point in the series, like she gets pissed off or something, or
Yeah, I'm
figures
right there
out.
with you. I was a little like, oh, so she just knows.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
So you see, they set up a temporary campsite at the area where the artifact was.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Unless this is like a flash forward a couple days, but the camp is there. They got it set up.
Yeah.
And then spent a lot of money.
It cuts to Chief still fully suited, shockingly, and Halsey's there with the artifact, and then that's the artifact that we see, and it's like complete lead in from the last episode, like directly to it.
Yeah, and there's a part where Cortana explains that this artifact puts a lot more energy out than the Madrigal artifact, obviously because it's bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, I had that, and then Chief doesn't respond. Another silent moment, and then Halsey asks John if he heard what Cortana said, and he again doesn't respond, and then it cuts the intro.
Yeah, he's like really on a rebellion thing. Like I don't know what's going on with him. He like basically he's like, fuck everybody I knew, and I'm just gonna ignore you guys and only talk to you when I'm really mad.
Yeah, he's like Peter Parker in the second half of Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
All he's missing is a little finger guns and dance moment.
We might get that. You never
who
know.
knows?
Yeah. A future episode.
And then we come back to back from the intro, and then we go to Madrigal.
Yep.
Where we see Quan and Soren.
The great Quan Ha.
And his bike's broken down, and she's talking about how she can fix it. And he's talking about how you can't fix this at all, which is probably true.
Yeah. And she complains a lot again, which I think that's just a part of her character. She's just going to complain. And she just keeps talking about freeing Madrigal. She's like, I'm going to do it by myself if I have to. And I'm just like, are you serious? Like, no, you're not. You're not doing anything.
Yeah, and he knows that, so he handcuffs her to his bike and tells her he's going to find a new bike.
Yep.
And then cuts back to Aridness, unless you got anything else.
That's all I got for that.
All right. So then Miranda meets up with Halsey at the artifact, and then I don't think anything much happened there.
Yeah, nothing really happened. They're just kind of examining it, looking at it.
Yeah.
I think it's like stuck in that thing. I don't know what it is. It's like a pillar
rock
thing.
formation.
Yeah. I think it's just stuck there, and they're trying to figure out how to get it out.
Yeah.
So I think they're just looking at it to see if maybe they can figure it out.
So then we see the rest of Silver Team all helmetless, and a bunch of Marines, and they're all strategizing in a tent about what they're going to do for the plan of if anything happens at the campsite. And I actually thought this was genuinely funny. Kai asked Vanek, what do the Covenant really want? And Vanek responds, to kill us like we want to kill them. And then this part was, it sounds cringy till I heard it again the second time. I was like, okay, I get it. It still sounds bad. But she says, do you ever wonder why? And Vanek says, no. And then she responds, do you ever wonder why you never wonder why? And I was like, oh, God. But then I was like, I get what I feel like that's weird delivery. But I get what they're saying. She's like trying to get it across his head of like, why do you never think about this? Don't you think that's weird that you never consider why this is happening?
Yeah.
Like get how robotic he is since she took her chip out, or whatever you want to call it, her palate. So I feel like that was her moment of trying to be like, do you not see how weird this is? But obviously he still has it, so he sees no issue
Yeah, he's
with
like,
it.
what the heck? And then he responds, he's like, I wonder if that gun grease didn't seep down to your brain asking me dumbass questions like that.
Yeah, that was the part that I thought was genuinely funny. I was like, all right.
Yeah, I laughed. Every time I watched the episode, I laughed. I was like, this is a good part. And I liked that I understood what she was getting at. It was weird delivery, but we understood. Like,
yeah.
I think she had to explain it that way because Vanek he's Vanek. That's all I gotta say about him.
Yeah, I think he's cool, but I feel like these deliveries that he keeps doing, I just can't take him serious now. Like every
He's
time
the Master Chief.
Every time he uses that voice, which is his natural voice, I just hear that. He's the Master Chief. Yes, he is. I just can't unhear it now. But then we see the Chief standing outside of the tent, and Riz throws up a drone into the air. Looks like a mini Hornet almost. And
I don't think I caught that.
Yeah, that's we'll get into it a little bit here, but when the big battle takes place and they keep showing like a drone to you, or that's where it's coming from.
I didn't notice that, so that's a good thing to know.
So she does that, and then Chief watches Kai and Bandit come out of the tent, and he sees her hair for the first time. And then I thought this was actually another funny part. You can tell he's very unimpressed by her hair, and like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then Cortana's like, oh yes, I noticed that too. That's a nice color on her. And then you could just tell that he was
he just ignored it completely, and I was like, what? It looks nice. Like, come on, man. Like, compliment your friend, or who's supposed to be your friend. He's just staring at it menacingly. He's like, I know what you did. I did the same thing, but I'm mad about it.
Yeah. So those two, surprisingly enough, put on their helmets. That is Vanek and Kai. And then Chief meets up with Kai and tells her to come with him and says immediately, take off your helmet. And I was like, yep, that lasted 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And I feel like these things are so noticeable because it's an excuse, like he needs to see the hair. So I feel like you wouldn't even think about these things if they didn't take so much time at every part of the series to leave his helmet off and take the other helmets off.
Yeah.
I feel like it makes it glaring. I feel like if the majority of the time they had their helmets on and that kind of thing happened, you wouldn't think about it. You're like, oh, that makes sense. He needs to see her hair. But when they do so much of it, I feel like it just makes it too obvious.
Just take your helmet off.
Uh-huh. And he asked when she took out her palette, and she says, when I saw you take yours out. And he says, I tried to look this up in case I was ignorant. He says, you're grounded, and because he couldn't trust her. She couldn't have like clear thoughts after that.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find anything. I was like, maybe that's a military term, and like grounded is really like state or station or something. The only thing I found, which I already knew, would be like if you're in the Air Force or that branch, like you're grounded, like no flying.
Right.
But I don't think that would make sense because she's never flown in the show yet.
Nope.
So I think that was just really poor writing.
So, yeah. Yeah, that was. I was like, okay, you could have said that different.
Uh-huh.
And then he's just like, oh, I can't clear you for battle because you're not, like, your chip is gone. I was just like, your chip is gone too, man.
Yeah, she argues the same thing, actually. And then, shockingly, he doesn't respond. And then Cortana cuts in and says, where is it? She agrees with Kai. And then Chief asks Cortana if she can do him a favor, and she says anything. And then he says, "Stop talking." Where is it? Oh yeah, that's what. Is there any more? Stop talking.
There was just Cortana just mentions that his battle readiness hasn't been tested before he asked her to stop talking. And I'm like, man, you're so rude to Cortana.
Yeah, that was the next point I had in here. I don't know what they're doing. I feel like eventually I feel like we talked about in the earlier episodes, they're trying to lead up to them like hating each other to where you would assume they eventually like have to work together, and that's where they connect.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a weird approach to take, and I feel like it's even weirder how much they're seeming to make the audience want to hate the Master Chief. Like a lot of people that do the weekly watch party with us, a lot of them don't play Halo, and they're like, this guy's a dickhead.
Yeah.
Like don't understand how all of us liked him. I'm like, this is not what he was. That's why.
Like, this is not Master Chief that we're used to. This is a rebellion, anger-filled, rude Master Chief. And I'm like, you got Cortana, man. Like, she has such a soothing voice, and he's just like, stop talking. Like, if I had Cortana, I'd be like, yeah, you can talk all day.
Yeah.
So I don't know this issue.
Yeah. You have anything before we go back to Madrigal?
No, I had all basically what you had.
Okay.
Much.
So we go to Madrigal and we see a phantom come in. Then it goes to the cave area from the pilot episode where we see two elites walking around. And the Blessed One asks them if they found anything.
The Blessed One's back, guys.
Yeah.
Hashtag the Blessed One. We missed her.
And the Elite tells her it's not there anymore. And talking about the artifact, of course. And she says she's aware that it's not there anymore, but they're still getting a signal from it, and there should be enough to lead them to the larger keystone. And she then tells him to keep looking, and then it cuts to Quan, still on Magical, and she finally breaks free from the handcuffs after this ridiculous moment of trying like 10 times.
Yeah, she's just like, she's hooked to the bike, and she's just like smacking it with bricks, is what and then it finally, I guess the cuff doesn't break, a part of the bike breaks, which would make more sense. I thought they were going to have the cuff break, and I was like, this is so stupid, but then they had the part break, and I was like, okay, that's a little bit more likely, but I was like, okay, interesting.
Do you have anything else from the cave? I know I went kind of fast there, so.
I feel like the Blessed One was a little sassy here.
Oh, she
with
definitely
the
was.
Elites. And I was like, ooh, it's got some fire. She's basically calling the Elites dumbasses, pretty much. There's like, yes, Blessed One.
No, I definitely noticed that.
And I thought that was really funny. It was fairly enjoyable. I was like, she's just like a small girl, and the Elites are these giant aliens, and they look terrified of her.
Yeah.
And she's just super sassy with them when they could easily just like smack
tear
the shit
apart.
out. Yeah. They could all just get their energy swords out and start stabbing her at the same time. And I'm just like, woo, she's aggressive.
Yeah. Anything before we go back to Ridness?
Nope.
All right. So Chief is talking to Keyes about the memories, or Captain Keyes, I should put, memories he saw of Halsey with his family and how she's been lying to him this whole time. And Keyes asks if he's talked to Halsey yet, and he says he hasn't because Keyes is the captain and he deserves to know everything first. And Keyes responds how Chief can always trust him and he'll personally look into it.
Yep.
Then it immediately cuts to Halsey and Keyes on a video call with Parangoski, and Keyes says how John remembers everything. And I was like, oh, guess you can't trust that. Also, we knew it was coming. I just thought it was funny how fast it cut to that.
Yeah.
You can trust me. You can't trust me.
Yeah, like it's just, he said he would look in, like he knows what's going on. He's just trying to be friends with Chief.
Yeah.
And then behind his back, he's like, he knows everything.
And then Parangoski's talking about how Halsey would promise that Cortana would keep John under control, and it's not working. And Parangoski says that she's going to cut Halsey off because she always has her own agenda. And then Halsey says, I wonder what Admiral Hood would think about this. And I was like, oh yeah, this guy still exists.
Yeah.
It's funny that he's apparently a big figure to you guys, but the show doesn't care about him at all.
At all. We just hear his name dropped a few times. That's about it.
So then Parangoski says she doesn't like being, she talks about how you need a scapegoat, and everybody's going to have a scapegoat, and then she's not pleased that they're trying to blackmail her.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, Halsey out here blackmailing people. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, Captain Keyes says that he wants Miranda taken off the entire project, and
because her hands are clean.
Bingo, you got it. Halsey says there's where was this at? Oh yeah, that was it. I thought this was a little cringy. Halsey says, finally, a parent issue we can agree on. And I was like, you really bringing like this family issue into here? I don't think that this whole military galactic battle cares about your family issues and your past of your arguments.
Yeah, no one cares.
Parangoski responds, she just says, handle it, and then the video call ends. And then
she's aggressive too. I feel like a lot of people in this episode were aggressive towards each other. Bannock towards Kai, Master Chief towards Cortana.
And Kai.
The Blessed One with the Elites, and now Parangoski is being a little aggressive too. They're all aggressive towards each other. There's a lot of tension going on here.
No, I agree. So then it cuts to Aiden, and he's doing some weird Aiden stuff with the artifact.
Yeah, who knows what he's... if he's left alone with the artifact, who knows what's going on. Like, we really don't know what this guy's into, so... yeah.
So he's messing with it, and then, like, some thing, like, cracks or something, and a huge high-pitched noise comes in, and they all start freaking out, plugging their ears. And then we see... it cuts to Madrigal for a second, and we see the Elites and the Blessed One are hearing the same signal, and she starts having this crazy orgasm. That seems to be a trend in this show.
Yep. Blessed One is there to show orgasm, so...
yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining when I'm seeing it from her, but it is still a little weird how much every character seems to have orgasm when anything happens.
Yeah. It's a little funky.
So then the Blessed One says she can see where the other keystone is at, and that cuts back to Aridness, and Chief is running fully suited towards the artifact. He reaches it and takes off his helmet.
Of course.
Yeah.
Just got to add that point because it happens way too often.
Then the noise stops and everything goes back to being calm, it seems like, at least. Feel free, like I said, to chime in. Captain Keyes tells Miranda she's been taken off the project,
which she was not happy about. Another point from that last scene, though, the artifact gets broken free from the little rock thing as that whatever happened. Just a small detail.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So apparently whatever Aiden did that caused the thing broke it free also. Yeah. So that was interesting.
And then, where were we at?
Keyes tells Miranda that she gets taken off the project.
And then it goes to Chief sees Captain Keyes talking to Halsey, and again does not look very pleased because I think he can tell what's happening and that he can't trust him like he thought.
Yeah, and then he starts asking Cortana questions about, like, he's like, oh, you have the entire human database. And he asks about his adoption, and she's like, there's no info on your adoption. And then he's like, why? And he's just so mad, and then he asks about the other Spartans. And then she's like, there's no info on it.
Yeah, this is another one that I get why it's so important to him, and it's much more than adoption is what he's asking. If you pay attention to the episode, it's much more than just being like, who are my parents? But
yeah,
out of context or just hearing the dialogue sounds so goofy. Yeah, he says, it's kind of what you said. Cortana, you have access to the entirety of human knowledge, isn't that right? And she says, that's correct. And he says, great, tell me about my adoption. Oh, wow, what a... You got anything in the history of man and you want to know about your adoption. Like I said, I get it in the context, but it sounds so fucking goofy.
Yeah, like he could learn anything. But he's just like, tell me about my adoption.
And then, like you said, he asked about the history of the other Spartans, and she says she has nothing. And then you can tell Chief is he's kind of just testing it. He knows that she didn't have anything, so he's trying to push it to be like, yeah, you're full of shit.
Yeah,
and they're hiding all this.
He does that quite a bit with Cortana. Cortana's just created to help him, and then he's so rude to her. I don't understand it. Like, if I was Cortana and I was able to, I would
jack him off.
Well, I mean, if you're into that thing, then sure. Right. But I would stab him.
Oh, stab him. Gotcha. Yeah. And then Chief's getting pissed off at that, so he marches towards the artifact, and Cortana starts freaking out about how he can't touch it and he could die. And then he says the only way to know, and immediately touches it, and this is his time for orgasm face, so he starts doing it. And then we get so is this a flashback?
Yeah, it's a flashback of him being abducted by the UNSC. And do they ever explain why touching the object gives him flashbacks?
We talked about last week how we were recording 2 episodes this week, so I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, I think they kind of were talking about that in the next episode that we'll record.
Okay, I might have missed it, but
no, you're good. They didn't directly say it, but I think I got what they were trying to do. I could be wrong though.
Well, I need that explanation because I understand what it's doing, but why does the object trigger the flashbacks?
Yeah, we'll see if they answer your question or not. I had that he was kidnapped in here. He sees that he was kidnapped. I just didn't put if it was a flashback or not. So then Halsey comes in real life, not in the flashback. And he tells her that, he tells her that he saw that he was abducted.
Yep.
And then does this ridiculous ass, like, anime style jump towards her. I don't know about you, I thought that was just like, so fucking goofy.
It was so goofy. It was very, I was like, interesting way to do that. But he was definitely going to attack her. And then I think Halsey screams like Cortana, help or something like that. I didn't get the exact line, but then Cortana like shuts down his brain, I guess, or puts him to sleep or something like that.
Then all his body weight just crashed to the ground, and for some reason when you get shut down, your eyes roll in the back of your head and just only see white. I was like, why did that have to happen? I'm confused.
It's a little dramatic there. And he just kind of falls over.
Yeah. That jump was so fucking goofy, though, because he has, like, superhuman speed. He could have just fucking ran at her. I was like, why
would you jump? Why leave your feet?
No, this is so goofy.
And, like, even if he kills her, what does it accomplish? He doesn't get any questions answered. He just kills her.
That would have been quite the twist. We'll get into it later here, but if he ended her the same way he did the Elite in this episode, if you remember that.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, shit. You have anything before we cut back to Madrigal?
Let's see. Nope, that was it. That's all I had.
All right. So then we're back on Madrigal. Soren got a new ride and comes back to find Quan. It's not a bike, so
yeah, it's like a Jeep.
Yeah, kind of like a shitty warthog or something.
Yeah, shitty warthog is what we'll go with. Probably from the Peons.
And then he sees Quan is not there, and then he starts freaking out, like going towards the bike, the old bike, and then she pops out from underneath the sand, which I don't know how long we were supposed to know that she was there or how long she was willing to wait, because I feel like you in the desert would only survive a little bit underneath sand. I feel like you'd fucking die real fast.
Yeah, dehydration. I mean, like, who knows what kind of creatures live on Madrigal. And I'm assuming it was a bit, because he obviously, like, chained her. Wasn't coming back very quickly. He had to go get a new ride, and he was walking to get one. So she was chilling for a bit.
Yeah.
And maybe she took a nap. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I just thought that was real weird and over the top and didn't really make sense. And then she pops out from her sand hiding spot and uses the, I almost said the object, but that's a different thing in this show. But the object she found, I think in last week's episode.
Yeah, last week's episode.
Debating if it was a lightsaber or not, and it's just like a fucking way too long taser.
Yeah, it's like a taser mixed with a cattle prod type thing.
Yeah, and just like shocks him. Oh, okay.
It's like rude.
And then it cuts back to Aridness, unless you got anything else.
So, and we can talk about this at the end, but what is the point of this?
I wish I could tell you.
Because there is none.
Uh-huh.
That's all I got for that. I'm just like, oh, back to Madrigal, cool.
Yeah, without going too far into the next episode, I forgot Venture was even a thing, these 2 episodes.
Yeah, because he doesn't matter. He doesn't matter to the overall plot.
Yeah.
At all. And same with Quan. Like, we don't care about Quan.
Yeah. Anything before we go back to Aridness?
Back to Aridness.
All right. So Chief wakes up and Cortana tells him he shut him down. I have somebody's nose backwards.
He got grounded.
Yeah, literally. And that she shut him down to protect Halsey. And then very video gamey here. Like, it seems straight out of the Halo games. I liked it. She like interrupts herself to say slip space rupture detected, and then shit gets crazy from here. Banshees pour in. I guess before we do this scene, or this whole scene,
basically the last 10-12 minutes of the episode.
Usually we talk about it, and you can do it however you want, but I broke this one up different because this scene is so cool that I kind of just broke the scene down, the positivities, and then there's a few things that I didn't like or thought were weird, and I just put them at the end as notes instead of going back and forth.
Okay.
But you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I just didn't want you to think that I thought it was all amazing here, but it is fucking awesome.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen action since episode 1.
Yeah.
And finally finally we get some action. But again, I'm just a little disappointing that it's only this one block.
Yeah.
And then the rest is just dialogue.
Yeah, that's I think I talked about that on the first episode, maybe the second one when we started not seeing action. It's okay to have story episodes or story parts or even story-based episodes, but when there's no action at all and you just can tell it's like saving for a certain point, I think it's a little weird, which it seems like that's what it's doing.
Yeah, it was almost forced action.
Yeah.
Not that it wasn't cool, it was just very forced. Like, I thought there should have been action in the last episode based on how the two before that went.
Yeah.
And this just felt like, oh, you wanted action? There you go.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, so the Banshees start attacking.
Yeah, they start pouring in, dropping bombs everywhere. Real badass. Like, all the Spartans are fully geared, even helmets on.
Oh, yeah.
And are told they need to get the artifact to the closest ship, which is Miranda's. And then I think this is the first time we see the sniper in action. We've seen it in stills, but I don't know if we've seen it in action.
I think, did we see it in the first episode? Or?
I was trying to remember. I don't think so. Maybe one of them does, but
not a ton. It might have been one shot if it was, but quite a bit of shots with this. But also the Banshees take out another ship, I think, is what happens.
Yeah, that was a big-ass ship, so I thought I'd make a bigger deal of it, but I don't really know what ship that was.
Yeah, I think that's where the artifact was supposed to go, and then the Banshees just took it out immediately. They're just like, boom, boom.
Yeah. There's Marines everywhere. Warthogs are driving all around. We see a Covenant Corvette in the sky. Then Cortana says, pod doors opening, infantry incoming. And then they hit the ground, the doors bust open, and it's our first look at grunts and jackals pouring out everywhere.
It was so awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, these guys look just like the video game.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they look really cool, and they have needlers and energy swords and just all the classic Covenant weapons, and it was really awesome.
That's the next thing I was going to say. You led into it perfectly. I talked last week about how I hope when you see the needler and it's in action, it would like stick to him and explode him from the inside.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened to Marine on the back of the Warthog.
Yep, he's just firing away, and then all the needles are in his chest, and then he just, boom, he's gone. He explodes. There's like a little blood cloud, and bye-bye Marine.
Then after that happens, you see a grunt run up to that Warthog and kick out the driver and hijacks the Warthog.
It was beautiful.
And then you see another Phantom come in with more grunts and jackals. This time just like opens the doors and they all pour out. Then you see Kai in first person. I thought this one actually worked really well. And hearing all the video game sound effects and everything I thought worked really well with it.
Yeah.
Then you see Kai struggling. She gets knocked down and looks like she might go out. Obviously, we know she's not gonna. But Chief starts freaking out like she's gonna. And he starts running and jumps off the cliff onto a Banshee. And
we might have skipped something. Hold on.
Yeah, go for it.
I had something else. Well, before they all get in the Warthog, I think Chief is running. Or maybe I'm mixing something up. Hold on, let me. Oh, yeah. I guess Chief is running. He has the pistol. And he's shooting a bunch of grunts.
Okay.
And then Cortana tells him to switch to his secondary weapon. And he's like, I know how the game is played, Cortana.
Yeah. I almost put that in there.
Yeah. So I think that happens, and then we see Kai start to struggle.
Yeah. Okay. And then that's when Chief jumps on the Banshee, and I thought he was going to hijack it for sure.
Yeah, I was ready for that.
Skyjack it, I guess.
Yeah.
And then he starts on, it looks like he's like maneuvering the wing, and then he crashes it into the dropship of the Covenant and takes it down, or the Phantom, if you will. And then the Phantom crashes in the ground, and then Chief goes running and throws a pistol at a grunt after he runs out of ammo.
Yeah, and before that, we see this jackal like crawling with like half its body gone.
Oh yeah,
he's just like crawling around.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, good, poor guy.
Yeah, I actually didn't catch that the second time, or I would put it in here, but I remember seeing that when we watched it together.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, he like throws his pistol at the grunt's head, which was hilarious. Like, if I'm a grunt, I'm just like, oh crap, it's Master Chief. But then he just launches a pistol at my head. I'm just like, that would suck.
Yeah.
It would really suck. Because I'm sure he threw that as hard as he could.
Oh, yeah. Knocked him over.
Yeah, the grunt's like, oh, fuck.
So then after he does that, he does a badass slide, and I don't think we've seen a shotgun yet, but I could be wrong about that as well.
That's the first time that's the first time I remember seeing a shotgun.
Okay. Then blows open a jackal with a shotgun, and then Master Chief goes all Gears of War on an elite, and
oh my God.
I even said as we're watching it, because he starts punching him in the face, and the man, straight Gears of War, and then he literally ends it with a curb stomp, which is what Gears is known for. Wow, they literally went Gears of War.
Yeah, he was just, like, when he knocked this elite over, he was beating the crap out of the elite. Like, he would not stop punching. The blood's going everywhere. He gets the blood all over his suit, too.
Yeah.
He's got, like, blue blood everywhere, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. It was brutal, but it was cool.
Oh, yeah. So then Chief makes a run for the artifact, but then another Covenant dropship comes in, and then it drops off a brute, which is definitely the first time we've seen this, with the gravity hammer.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Oh, yeah, he looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, he looked amazing. And when I saw the gravity hammer, I was freaking out.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, this is so amazing. Because I was waiting for it. I think I talked about it in a previous episode, how we haven't seen a lot of the Covenant weapons.
Yeah.
And the gravity hammer is one I mentioned because it's one of my favorite weapons in Halo. We finally got to see it. And I was like, this is so cool.
Oh, yeah, the hammer is awesome. The brute looked fucking cool, and I didn't expect him to come in like that.
Yeah, I didn't either. Like,
I was just surprised.
Drops in to grab the artifact.
And then, yeah, he just swoops out of there as soon as he gets the artifact. And then Chief says a famous Halo line. He says, Cortana, I'm going to need a weapon. And she says, I don't think it's going to do much here. And then, this is when the brute gets sucked back into the ship with the artifact.
Yeah, and he actually hits Chief with the hammer, and Chief somehow gets a shield.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, he like
put that in here
because Chief like jumps at him and then he hits him with the hammer and then Chief turns on like those shields that you put like on your arm.
Jackal shield.
Yeah, the Jackal shield, and then he gets knocked out of the way and then he gets a weapon and starts shooting, but the brute is already going straight up to the sky.
Yeah. So then he starts shooting at the ship. Obviously, no success. They get away, and then another dropship comes down. Or another pod drops down, and it opens up to see the blessed one in it.
Hashtag the blessed one.
And then Chief takes off his helmet, and then the episode ends. Unless you got anything.
Yeah, no, that was pretty much it. But yeah, at the end, I think she says something like "make it look cool" or something.
Yeah.
And then she drops in, and Cortana's just like, "There's a human life form." And Chief just doesn't really care. He's just like, whatever, I failed.
Yeah, I think she says make it look real, and they drop her in. So
yeah, something like that.
Yeah. The nitpicky things I had or issues that I had with this battle, like I said, overall it's awesome. That's why I kind of divided it up. But the Banshees dropping in all those bombs, as cool as it was, I thought it was weird. I didn't really think about it till the second time. In Halo, they're like green balls that explode, and I get that they're doing their own thing, but I feel like that would have been cool, and I feel like that would have felt a lot more sci-fi too, which is what the show is.
Yeah.
To have that opposed to like generic war-looking bombs.
Yeah, just random bombs. Yeah, that was interesting. I didn't really remember the bombs from the game, so I didn't really have that nitpick or didn't see that, but if that's what they look like, then that would have been cooler. Yeah,
they have two modes in most of Halo, if not all the Halo games. The Banshee shoot to like laser beams, but then you can press usually Y, and then it'll switch to like explosion bombs.
Oh wait, yeah. I know about that. I was thinking of something else, but
no, you're good.
Yeah, that's actually really cool in the game. The little rocket bomb things.
So then another thing was, as cool as the grunt was hijacking the Warthog, I thought that was a weird choice because the grunts don't do that in the game. I get this is his own thing, but that seems kind of weird.
I don't think they ever. The only vehicle they really hijack is like Ghost and I don't remember They're like gray. And they're like kind of like a ghost, but
Brute Chopper.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't even think they hijacked those. I think it's just
Elites and
yeah.
Brutes.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about the abrupt stop. I had to go upstairs. There's a bit of an emergency.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna soldier on with the Master Chief though.
Yeah, because that's what we do as Spartans.
We left off talking about the grunt hijacking the warthog though, and yeah, I still think that's weird because I get that it's a show, it's doing its own thing, but there's elites on the battlefield, so I thought that was an odd one to do, even though it's funny.
Yeah, and they didn't really focus on the elites too much though. It was all Jackal grunt based.
I didn't realize there was an elite until he started going all Gears of War, and then wait, is that
Yeah,
a Jackal? That thing's way too big. Oh, it's elite.
Yeah, and a lot of the Covenant guys that we see are Jackals and grunts. Like there's one scene where we didn't actually talk about it, but a Jackal jumps down, gets his energy sword out. He kills 5 soldiers. So the Jackal went kind of ape shit. He was going crazy. He was like, "This is my moment."
I did think it led for a funny moment. I feel like what they're going for is like the grunts' goofiness and kind of dumbness. I just thought that was a weird way to do it because there's so many ways that they are already known for. So I thought that was an odd one to pick.
Yeah, and did the grunts talk at all?
No, I think they made them make grunting noises. But I don't think they actually did like their funny dialogue.
Because their dialogue is the best, and we didn't get any. So I thought maybe when like hijacking the warthog, you should have said something.
Yeah.
Like called the guy a dumbass or something funny. I don't know.
Yeah. We didn't talk about the Jackals with the swords, but I did have that in here because I thought that was another weird one because Jackals never have swords in the game.
Yeah.
So that seems like an odd choice. I just don't know why you keep doing these things.
They always have the they usually have plasma pistols or the sniper rifles that the Covenant have.
Yeah.
And beam, is it a beam rifle?
Yeah.
Or yeah. So that is a weird. It's elites. Elites have the energy swords.
Yeah.
So it's a little weird. It's like, did you guys forget which weapons which Covenant use which weapons?
Yeah.
Because they definitely forgot. It looked cool.
Oh yeah.
But it's like elites are known for the energy sword. Like when you see elites, you're like, oh crap, he's gonna have an energy sword, and that's gonna suck. But the Jackals just don't do that.
Yeah.
So I get what you're going at.
Another thing that I thought was a really odd choice was when some of the Jackals died, red blood went everywhere, and I feel like the Covenant. That's why there's always debate the original Halo games why they were rated M because there was no real blood in it.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they changed that. That seemed like a really odd choice for me because their blood was always purple, and it just for some reason theirs was red, even though most of the Covenant is purple in the show. So I thought that was weird.
Yeah, I didn't actually notice the red blood, so that's something I didn't notice.
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't intentional. Maybe they didn't mean to do that. But I feel like if you're making this kind of show, small details like that, you should
that's
notice
important. Because the Elite obviously has blue blood because when Master Chief beats the shit out of the one, his blood goes all over his suit.
Which looked awesome, and the blood on the visor and everything on Master Chief looked really good. Another thing that I think this happened a few times in the show. I don't know if it's the CG not mixing well with live action or what, but when he boarded the Banshee and started shooting it with his pistol, I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember.
It just did absolutely nothing. I get that it's a ship, so the pistol wouldn't do much, but it wasn't like, oh, it didn't do much damage. It just literally, it looked like he was shooting nothing, and I think it's because it's CG, so they didn't take the time to like edit bullet holes, or even if it's not going to damage it, like shells flying off, like that it's invincible. No, that looks so awkward to have him jump up there all badass and do, and just nothing happens.
Yeah, see, I thought because how close he was that maybe it would go inside, like it would penetrate the Banshee, and then it would kill the person flying it, but it did nothing.
Yeah. It'd be cool if it did that, and even if it didn't, like I said, if they're trying to show that the thing is so strong that the pistol's going to do nothing, that's okay, but they should show, you should see feedback of that, like the shells flying off and not being phased, but it's literally like I said, I think they just did not put enough work into the CG to show that, which is unfortunate.
It was just doink, doink, doink.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, that's doing nothing. And did he throw his pistol, or did he? No, he keeps it because he throws it at the grunt once he. Yeah. And then when he makes it crash, how did he jump off before it crashed? Because
actually,
how do you survive that? Because obviously there was a jackal that lost its entire bottom half of its body and it's just crawling, and then Chief just gets up like it's nothing. So maybe it's because he's the Master Chief, but
there you go.
I was a little confused about that. Unless he jumps and we just don't see it, where he jumps off before it hits.
I don't know.
But I could see no way because he was actually directing it into that. Was it the drop ship?
Yeah.
So that was a little nitpick that I saw. I was like, how did he survive that?
I had two more. You already mentioned it, but the Master Chief using the Jackal shield, I don't know where the fuck that came from. And that's not even, I don't even think that's like a lot of things talking about here where you're a Halo fan and you're like, that's weird because he never does that. I think it doesn't make sense because either he picked it up from a Jackal, which they should show, even though you can't do it in a game if they want to be different. They should show him doing that. Or if he didn't, then he always has this thing, and why the fuck has he not used it yet? So I feel like even a regular audience person, I'd be like, what the fuck? What is this thing?
Yeah, where did he get, like, he obviously killed a bunch of jackals and stuff, but never picks it up.
Yeah.
Everything's moving too quickly, I think, for him to just stop and pick up a shield.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That was kind of a cop-out, I feel like. So he didn't take a full hit from the gravity hammer, because we know what that thing does.
Yeah.
And that would have sucked.
The only other one I had was when he tells Cortana he needs a weapon, and like I say, starts using a battle rifle to try and shoot the ship. I was like, this guy is like the smartest soldier in the world, and he's thought this battle rifle is going to affect this drop ship hundreds of feet in the air and taking off, and just does absolutely nothing.
It's like, oh crap, it didn't work.
I don't know if that was like a nod to all of us that play Halo and do the same dumb thing even though we know it's not going to work, or if that was just a... Normally, I would think it was something like that, like, oh, that was kind of funny or cute, but with the other things they do, like that we just mentioned with the Banshee, it makes me overthink and be like, I don't know if that's what you're doing, or if you just thought that was going to be cool, because that looked really fucking awkward.
Yeah, it was like, if you're seeing a ship go away, yes, in a game, I'm shooting it. So that makes sense, because it's like, oh, die, ship. But for him, it's just like, oh, I failed.
Yeah, or if you have rockets or something, but a fucking battle rifle. This is so goofy.
That's a gun that's not going to do anything.
That shit doesn't even know you're shooting at them.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, this is like birds are hitting the outside of the ship. Let's just move on.
Should we get into overall about the episode?
Yeah, I don't think I had anything else from that scene except the Kai parts. We didn't really cover it too much, but Kai's just having a full breakdown during the scene, and it's just from her chip getting removed.
Yeah.
She's kind of just freaking out, and there's just blood all around her. I think she sees a UNSC soldier just bleeding, and it kind of makes her freak out.
Yeah.
And then obviously Chief goes off mission during the scene to go save her, despite Halsey stay on mission, or Cortana saying it also. So we see the effects of the pallets getting removed, which I thought was good.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. I think I was first last time.
Yeah, I think you went first.
All right, go for it.
So I can go first. So Haas, the Ha reviews, the best part of the episode. So when I first watched this episode, didn't take notes on it. I loved it. Like I was gonna go 9 Haas. Watching it a second time, I actually dropped it a little bit.
Okay.
And so I liked the episode for the most part. All the madrigal stuff is stupid. Again, there's 3 madrigal scenes in the whole episode, and it just took up 5 minutes, 6 minutes of screen time, and I thought it was all dumb. There was no point in it, except the blessed one. When I saw the blessed one, I was happy. But she's on madrigal for a reason. Quan Ha is just there.
Yeah.
So that part, I feel like it drops it a Ha every episode when we see Quan Ha, which it should be the opposite. We should be upping our Ha's by seeing Quan Ha, but that's just not where it's at. So that automatically drops it. And then the fight scene was good, but felt like it was a little forced. It wasn't like we talked about it earlier how a fight's like it should flow correctly, and they just kind of so far in the show we've gotten 2 big battle scenes. The first 15 minutes of episode 1, the last like 10 or 12 minutes of episode 5. And it's just a bunch of action and then nothing. No action. All dialogue. We got it 4 episodes in a row. Just all like because the back half of episode 1 was all dialogue and talking and maybe a bullet flies here or there, but it's not like an action scene. So I don't like how they're doing that. And so overall the episode's not bad, so I gave it 7 ha's out of 10. And there's parts I really like about it, but then other parts I'm just like I don't know. It's not the worst episode in the series, but I feel like it could have been done better. It was a little short too. The runtime was short.
I was gonna say when I started mine.
It was the shortest episode in the series. It was 39 minutes. And it honestly could have been shorter if they cut the Madrigal stuff. Like it could be a 30-minute episode of stuff that actually matters in the show. Yeah. And again, the Madrigal just takes me, I don't know, like she's just a pointless character. She doesn't really connect with Chief anymore. And yeah, she's annoying. I don't like her. And I said that last episode too, but I'm going to keep saying it because I really don't like her.
No, I hear you. Feel similar in a lot of ways. Yeah, I think the Madrigal stuff, aside from the connection to the pilot episode, was pretty pointless. And on top of being pretty pointless, not even that enjoyable. It wasn't like I was like, oh, that was entertaining. No, it didn't really make sense. There wasn't much to it, especially her jumping out of the sand. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's just it wasn't good. Like,
yeah.
You could at least make it enjoyable with, but it's not enjoyable. I'm just annoyed by Kwan Ha. I mean, Soren's cool, but it's like, what's his point also? I don't know.
Yeah. I think aside from that, though, for me, as I talked about in this episode, it's a lot of nitpicks and I think weird decisions. But overall, I actually really enjoyed the episode, and ironically enough, I gave it your original score, 9 ha's.
9 ha's, wow.
Yeah, I think it's on par with the pilot episode. I think, because thinking back, I feel like that episode is really good. I wouldn't change my score. But I think part of what made it so good is the excitement of the series starting. So I feel like if these were both like mid, or like this was episode 6 and 7, I feel like they would both be about the same to me.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. Was the action like satisfying?
Yeah, I do think I can see where you're coming from. That it seemed like it was like the action block. Like, here we go, it's time for the action. I think that's fair. But no, I think the battle itself, I thought was fucking awesome. Aside from the, like I said, the nitpicks I have, but those are all nitpicks, not anything that was like, oh, this battle sucks now.
And like even leading up to the battle, though, like the action block, like you said, like it felt like, oh, here we go, like the Banshee's flying in, just, oh, here comes the action that you've been waiting for 4 episodes.
No, definitely. I think the only thing that helped me with it that I didn't really think about at the time is, like I said, when she says Slip's face rupture detected, and just instantly the craziness, I feel like that was very reminiscent of the games, which doesn't just automatically make it good, because they're obviously very different than the games, as we've talked about countless times. But
yeah,
I think for me it was cool to see that.
Yeah, and I mean 7 isn't even bad.
Oh,
like
no.
that's a good review.
Yeah.
I feel like cutting the Madrigal parts would make me rate it higher.
No, I got you.
I mean, it's not even in it that much, but again, it's just wasted screen time.
Yeah.
But I was glad the Blessed one came back. Missed her a lot. Talked about that last week. I think we all missed her.
We're blessed.
Yeah, now we're blessed again. And I think... But John being a little rebel was a little annoying, too.
I'm with you.
Or, like, just angry at everybody. Like, I understand where he's coming from. Because, like, he's figuring out that he's been lied to his whole life. So, that would probably make me mad, too. But just the way he's handling it is so...
Emo boy.
Yeah, emo. Yeah, he's Peter Parker. He is Tobey Maguire. He is emo Toby out there. A little deeper voice, and
Yeah.
he hasn't. Now, if he starts dancing and pointing at Covenant, I'm going to lose my mind. It'd be really funny. Just him dancing with some grunts pointing at him.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll dance with the blessed one.
I'm in.
Yeah, I'd be in.
Anything else?
That was it, I think. So, yeah, 7 Haas. Let us know your Haas in the comments.
Yeah, Trevor, I think you're the only one that's done it. Keep it up, please. And everybody else do the same. Like I said, you can retroactively do it. I am curious what other people think about the earlier episodes. And it'd be cool to be able to go back and look and see if people start rating each episode, their Haas, see what they give it compared to ours.
Yeah, and then if you like Quan Ha, you can say that too. This is a no judgment zone. If you enjoy her character, we won't judge you too hard.
This is like Planet Fitness, though, where it's judgment free until we don't like something, then we judge it.
Yeah. But if you like different things that we don't like, you can let us know. And we'd love the feedback.
Yep. Anything else?
No, that's all for this one.
See you later.